and welcome to Art Alive. This week we're in Editions on Cook Street for the exhibition The Art Merseywide 2015 that looks at the best artwork that has been on display in different galleries around Merseyside. In part 2 we'll go to the Tate where new artworks have been hung as part of the new ongoing collection Constellations. But for now let's focus on Merseyside. Olwen McLaughlin is the person behind this exhibition. Let's go and talk to her. When we're here for the exhibition Art Merseywide, can you maybe tell us what it is about then first?
Well, we've done this now for a few years. There's 6 different galleries around Merseyside who come together collectively to have opens every year. So we thought we'd choose 10 of the best from each of them and put them into one big show, and we called it imaginatively, it's called Art Merseywide. And I'm one of the galleries which is the only commercial galleries, otherwise they're galleries like the Williamson, the Atkinson, the Brindley, Halton and St Helens Words of Glass. So they're all run municipally and not by, like myself, a commercial gallery. So I'm very lucky to be part of it.
And how did you select the work? Because
that's very difficult. Yes, that's very difficult always because there's so many good pieces in many of the exhibitions. So we do it together. We all go around the room. We have a piece of paper and we write the ones we like the best, and every time they're all different. So then we have to go back through the whole room again and try and settle. And there are some arguments. This year we've got a lot of photography, which is a bit strange. I don't know why that's happened, but there is some very good photography, so perhaps that's why we chose it.
Why do you say it's strange?
Well, I suppose it's an art form, but I always like watercolours and printmaking. Printmaking is the thing I'm very fond of. I think it's one of the art forms that is one of the hardest ones to do, because with the painting you put the paint on the page and it works, but with the print if you do it wrong it's a disaster. The whole piece is lost and you have to start again. So I think printmaking, even though it's something that's there are an edition of them, so people think that devalues it, but I think actually printmaking is wonderful. So I do try and show printmakers, and there's not a lot in this show. So as I say, photography, I suppose everybody has a camera now, don't they?
Yeah.
So, or they have a phone. So they're always looking at things through the shape of a camera almost on their phone when they hold it up. So I think maybe that's why there's so much this year.
So there are around 30 pieces around here, but I believe you've divided into
Well, I
groups.
only have a small gallery, even though it's been here for over 10 years. And previous to that, I was 17 years in the Blue Coat, so I've been doing this a long time. And we do picture framing, and that's like any gallery struggle, really. And so the mainstay of the business, and the reason we can show the work is that we have the framing business to support that. So we've done this in 2 halves because I'm a small place. And it's very sad to say that there are very few venues that can accommodate 60 pieces of art, and we found it very difficult to find one this year, so that's why I offered to do this. And as I say, it's been quite hard to hang because they're disparate. Every piece is by a different artist in a different style, so trying to make it look coherent has been quite tiring yesterday. I'm surprisingly so, because I have done this for many years. So we did have a bit of a struggle yesterday, but it has come together well, I think.
Okay. Yeah. And the way you've separated it's by boroughs of Liverpool.
Yes. This one tonight is the Williamson, that's over on the Wirral, obviously, and the Brindley Art Gallery in Runcorn. Louise Hesketh is a curator there, Colin Simpson, as you know, from the Williamson, and myself. So the 3 of us have put this one together. Well, not pushed together, but this is our galleries.
Yeah, because before that, I mean, during the summer, you had a previous exhibition, but with Knowsley, I think,
and Sefton and Halton, yes. St Helens World of Glass, Knowsley, yes, and the Atkinson in Southport. Yeah, that is a lovely gallery as well, and it's just been done up. So
this is to celebrate Merseyside artists.
Yes, it is indeed. That's exactly right. It is, and I think actually, if you're part of something like this, you should enter the Opens. I was just talking to some of the artists here today, and a lot of people don't enter these exhibitions, and you won't be seen unless you do. And I have no idea why they don't do it. And also, they should frame the works. They should be proud of the work. They should put the work together well. They should talk to their groups. They should send the work in. I mean, it's so easy to do. And I've seen on the internet today, I mean, the galleries already, St. Helens is doing another big show, another open exhibition. You know, you can go online and look at that and put your work in.
So this is a call for submissions?
It is, yes, it is. It is. All artists paint a lot if they can't help themselves. It's a wonderful thing, but they have often got a lot of work. And many retired people have been painterly all their life, but they haven't actually had the time to do it. So there's a lot of people who paint, and they should send their work in, because it's sitting, blocking up their living rooms, their dining rooms, their garages, their spare bedrooms. Their families get annoyed about it. But if they're not out there, you won't be seen. And seeing work actually in the flesh, not on the internet, is so much more pleasurable, to actually see how they put the brush strokes on, or how they've composed the photographs, or it's so much better.
And so we're here in Editions. Maybe you can tell us a bit how you started this gallery.
Yes, we were previously in the Blue Coat, as I say, for 17 years, and we had a shop there, a much larger gallery, and a shop selling, sort of gifts and cards and wrapping paper, and we still did the framing there. And when the Blue Coat got refurbished, we moved here to Cook Street, and it's a much smaller space, but it's just about right, really. I mean, managing shows is quite an enterprise, and selling work is difficult, really, in a gallery. And now a lot of artists sell online, or they have pop-up shops, and so a gallery is a sort of, I'm going to say redundant with the big word, but in one way they are. I mean, although if you can go to other countries and you find galleries everywhere, but not many in Liverpool, really.
Well, the thing is that we need your expertise.
Yes, that's right, exactly right. Yes, you do.
Well, we do, yeah. It's hard to find some work and to...
Yes, you do. Although there are only, as I often say, there are only so many months in the year. So putting an exhibition on every month, financially doesn't really matter, because it's my choice to do that. But actually, putting on the wall, having an opening, giving wine, which I'm happy to give, but it's still a big thing in a way, and that's why there aren't really many galleries, because commercially, unless you handle artists who are valuable artists, or valuable, what's the word? But they have a reputation, so then you can sell their work, and then you can make some money from that. And the other thing is, people worry about commission in galleries. They think, they're going to charge big commissions. And I will say this on camera, is that galleries, that's not the most important thing. They try to make money, but they negotiate commissions. It's a deal between representing, showing their work, and then taking a percentage of that. I mean, I'd never set it in stone. I think it's laughable in a way, because I say, well, we've sold a piece, and then we can discuss this. And if you sold it for a lot of money, that'd be great if I got a bit of money out of that. But most pieces are pretty cheap. You'd have to sell a lot of them to make any money out of them.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
What I do is combine collage and painting in quite a sort of dense, complicated way. And the piece I've got here is a graveyard, kind of desolate graveyard with a lot of different graves, one of which is open. You can see a staircase going down into it. It's called Graveyard Shift, and it's based on like a recurring dream I had when I was a kid, where my granddad had just died, and I wasn't quite, I can't remember, I think I was 7 or 8 or something, and I hadn't really had any dealings with death of any sort. So while I was kind of, I guess, trying to sort of get to grips with what that was in my head, I had this dream where I went to the graveyard to visit my granddad's grave, and my granddad popped out of it in like a coat and a hat. And we went to this cafe that's closed now, a place called the Dormouse, for tea cake and a banana split, and then went back to the graveyard, and he was like, right, I'll see you in 6 months. Went off down, and then I woke up, and for like the rest of that morning or something, I kind of thought that was true, and that was something that could happen. And then when I realised that was a dream, that was sort of when I realised what death is and was. So I don't know, that image has always been sort of a potent one for me, and I've put it in quite a few different pieces of work, but it really seemed to work once I got into this collage way of working, because the finished pieces give me the feeling of a dream in a way that they're quite, because they use photographic materials and real things, they've got like a tangible reality to them, but they're also obviously nonsense. And that kind of tension between those two states, where even though it's ridiculous, but it also has a kind of physical, tangible quality where you can almost kind of put yourself in the scene and give it like a kind of woozy reality. I feel like my most successful works are the ones that do that in the kind of clearest way.
Mary-Nancy, you have some of your work exhibited as well, some photographs.
I do. I have lucky enough to have 2 photographs in the exhibition. I entered the Williamson Open exhibition over on the Wirral, and was lucky enough to have a work selected from there. And then they also entered a bit later in the year the Liverpool Open, which was held at Editions here, and delighted that one was selected from that. So yeah, two pieces of work, which is great. So
can you give us maybe a few words about the ones that we have here?
Yeah, the one that was in the Wirral exhibition at the Williamson Art Gallery is part of a personal project that I'm doing down in the dunes at Hoylake. So there's a dune system there, which so the series of works called Beside the Boardwalk, where we've got dunes and dune grasses and sort of glowing sand. So it's that one in particular was taken this winter when there was a lot of sort of frosty dunes, and the light is quite sort of soft and beautiful during the winter time particularly. And then the other piece of work, which is called Posts in Snow, which is a monochrome image, and that was an image taken a few years back actually out in North Wales when we don't get much snow around here, so whenever we get snow, as landscape photographers, we get really excited rushing out into the snow, because anything that transforms the landscape, whether it be fog or mist or snow, or some particularly gorgeous light. So that was out in the snow in North Wales, and just a few little posts in the snow, and quite a minimal composition, of which I'm a great fan. Minimalism in photographic composition.
You have up to the 12th of September to come down and have a look at the Art Merseywide here at Editions on Cook Street. Next on Art Alive, Chris Kerr went to the Tate and spoke to Darren P. about the new Constellation displays. Welcome back to Art Alive. A few weeks ago we went to the Tate for the new artwork on display as part of Constellations, and we talked to Darren P., exhibition and displays curator.
Darren, tell us a bit about the whole concept of Constellations.
Well, Constellations is just open to Liverpool. It's almost 160 works from a national collection of modern and contemporary art for the UK here at Tate Liverpool. It's free, so anybody can come. We're open 7 days a week. What the work is, what this shows, it really draws. It's a series of 4 rooms, 4 constellations, each triggered by a single artist's work. So we have 4 rooms, one that centres on which is Hamilton. One on Louise Bourgeois, the French-American surrealist sculptress. One on Joseph Boyes, the performance artist, sculptor, shaman, teacher, call him what you will. And this room, which is Cindy Sherman, the American photographer. And what each room attempts to explore is that one artist's work can have an influence or a relationship to another artist's work beyond the idea of them being part of the same movement. So Cindy Sherman, although she was linked to people like Robert Longo and Shane Levine, actually you can trace an influence between Sherman's work and somebody like pop art of the 1960s. This idea that an artist's work can have a charge beyond art history, beyond chronology, and beyond geography.
Wow. Okay. And so once you actually get into the great repository that is the Tate Gallery in London,
Yes.
how do you start choosing? How do you set about choosing what it is you want?
Well, it's actually quite a challenge, because I think it's usually, if you're curating a room centred around somebody like Cindy Sherman, you'd look to New York in the 1980s, you'd look to ideas of appropriation, the way in which image culture became part of the language of fine art, for people like Robert longer order prints. And actually what you do is that you begin to examine what is it about Cindy Sherman's work. You know, she's somebody who used ideas of self-performance, self-stage portraiture, makeup, costume, lighting effects to create these sort of kind of inventing a persona. And these were works that really responded to the influence of television in the 1960s, the way in which identity could be performed through self-staging. And that idea of adopting a persona and of the influence of mass media, I think you can trace through to photoconceptualism, to people like Grayson Perry, this idea that you can invent a persona somehow, and you can sort of like conflate the idea of high art and low art in new ways of making. Somebody like Pauline Boaty, who we see here. Now, she was a British pop artist. She was somebody who was very associated. She associated with people like Blake, Derek Boshier. She was somebody who was part of swinging London in the 1960s. But she's also somebody who was really one of the only female pop artists. This is a painting called The Only Blonde in the World. It's a portrait of Marilyn Monroe. Monroe, of course, was somebody who was one of the parts of the language of pop art. She was glamorous, she was a Hollywood film star. And male artists actually used her imagery quite a lot, which is Hamilton painted her. But for something like Pauline Percy, as a female artist, to take Marilyn Monroe, turn it to his head and say, this is a painting, this painting is called The Only Blonde in the World. Pauline Percy herself was a blonde artist. And this idea of, who actually is this the ideal,
In your publicity, you quote a line from Picasso who says, why is it that people always want to understand painting, why don't they try to understand birdsong instead? I mean, do you think there's a slight tendency to over-explain?
To explain art?
Yeah.
I hope not. Maybe that's what I've just been doing.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm interested because you come here as an art lover like I am, but without any kind of training or tell. You come and you look at the pictures. And for me, I actually find it quite helpful to have exactly what you've just done to tell me the relationship between them.
Well, I think what we're trying to do here today is that we're trying to bring together instantly recognisable works by Richard Hamilton, by Cindy Sherman, by George Roberts, Joseph Boyles, Marcel Duchamp, Grayson Perry, really instantly recognisable like icons from the National Collection. Some of the greatest works from the National Collection here in Liverpool. And I think many of these books have never been seen before at any of the Tate sites. This is like a unique experience. And what we're trying to do is by presenting somebody like Richard Hamilton or Cindy Sherman alongside sort of lesser known artists, you're the meaning comes from the audience. I think it's the idea that you are able to sort of find a relationship between somebody like Sanja Bekovic or Enrico David, which you see across the room here. And you can see, well, actually, why are these two artists presented side by side? And there is a relationship between somebody like Enrico David, the idea of self-staging and theatricality, the way in which the language of Bauhaus and fashion becomes part of the language of fine art in contemporary terms. So I think the meaning comes from the audience, I think.
You talk about works being side by side. We were here the other day when the works were being installed, and I wonder whether, technically, is this something which you take a lot of time over thinking exactly what the physical relationship is going to be from one painting to another, and from a piece of Grayson Perry to a Pauline Boaty or whatever?
Well, of course. I think each work has its own unique qualities and its own specifications. If a work is a film, you keep it centered in a room on a monitor. But I think it's quite a difficult question. It's one of those things where you have to respect the integrity of the work, and it takes interest to present all the work in the best possible way.
I didn't mean it as a difficult question. I just wondered how much once you've chosen the work, whether you spend a lot of time thinking, okay, well that's going to go. That's obviously a very strong work behind you there. So what are we going to put on either side of it? Is that something which exercises you, or does it kind of
obviously it's really important because you're wanting to get works talking to one another across a room. So for example, here we have a work by John Steziker. And John Steziker is a British conceptual artist, really. He's somebody who you would not usually associate with someone like Cindy Sherman, but actually they met. They were in contact in the mid-1970s, and here they presented Cindy Sherman on this side of the room, John Steziker on this side of the room, and they meet again. This idea of what you see here with Steziker is like he's painting a trap for the gaze. So this idea of the gaze as being something which was critiqued in the 1970s, in art theory, in film theory, more being like this. So I think there's a way of creating a new relationship between artists you would not usually associate.
And this is going to run for about 3 years now before you change it again?
This exhibition will be on display until summer 2016.
That's all this week on Art Alive. See you next time.